Let's make it perfectly clear. The United States and Donald Trump have no reason, let alone right, to invade Greenland because they have access to Greenland whenever they want it. Like, comment and subscribe please. We need to convince an unintelligent algorithm about what this channel is for. And let's dive into these chilly waters. There is a real historical agreement from the 1940s and a Cold War era treaty that give the United States long-standing military rights in Greenland, although it does not give the US a blanket, unconditional right to send troops there whenever it wants, regardless of Danish or Greenlandic consent. In April 1941, while Denmark was occupied by Nazi Germany, the US and a Danish minister in Washington signed an agreement, often called the Defense of Greenland Agreement. This allowed the US to build and operate military facilities in Greenland for the defense of the island and the North American continent, lease land and develop bases necessary for those defense purposes, but the states had to respect Danish sovereignty over Greenland. This agreement was meant for wartime and immediate post-war security and was signed under extraordinary World War II circumstances. While it granted broad military access, it explicitly recognised Danish sovereignty and was not a carte blanche for unrestricted occupation. After World War II and the creation of NATO, a new treaty, the US-Denmark Defence Agreement, was signed on April 27, 1951, between the United States and Denmark concerning the defence of Greenland under NATO auspices. That agreement formalised US rights to establish and use facilities in Greenland as part of collective defence with NATO. It does not grant unilateral power for the US to take over or station forces without coordination with Denmark and the NATO framework. And it is built on mutual defence obligations, not US sovereignty over Greenland. Today, this is the legal foundation under which the US operates the Pituffik Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base. Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. Denmark controls foreign and defence policy, and any major shift, such as troop deployments, beyond what's agreed or a takeover, would require Danish consent. Danish officials have explicitly stated that the US has no right to annex or seize Greenland, and Danish laws and defence forces would resist any unapproved invasion. Trump publicly framed Greenland as a strategic asset the US, and I quote, needs to defend itself, implying that ownership or exclusive control is necessary for US security. But in reality, US military access and defence rights in Greenland have existed since 1941 and were uprated under NATO in 1951. The US already operates major installations like the Thule or Pituffik Air Base, which support continental defence, missile warning and space monitoring. So the core strategic function Trump cited, defending the US from northern threats, is already fully covered by existing agreements. The US does not need Greenland's sovereignty to achieve that defence role. Trump's push for ownership really does not offer him any additional defence capability beyond what the US already enjoys. The only things ownership could theoretically change are real estate control, resources, and political leverage, none of which are necessary for the defence purposes he emphasised. So, when Danish Foreign Minister Lars Rasmussen said there was a fundamental disagreement between his country, together with Greenland, and the states, he wasn't just referring to sovereignty, but to the claim that the states need Greenland in order to defend the Arctic against possible attacks by Russia and China. Meanwhile, European allies, including Sweden, France and Germany, are already saying they will support Denmark, meaning any attempt to seize it would trigger a geopolitical crisis. Thanks for listening. That's what it's all about. As I said before, like, comment and subscribe, and you will see me in the next one.